What else is out for everyone apart from people in Orkney?
Yeah, so A Different Man, which is billed as a black comedy psychological thriller written and directed by Aaron Schimberg, who made the 2019 drama Chained for Life, which co-starred Adam Pearson. Now, you may know Adam Pearson. He had a brief role in Under the Skin. He was a presenter on BBC Three's Beauty and the Beast, The Ugly Face of Prejudice. Or was that on Channel 4? Anyway, and he was the subject of a Horizon documentary, My Amazing Twin. He's a remarkable man. He has neurofibromatosis type 1 and is very kind of smart and funny and eloquent. Anyway, he was in Chained for Life, and he co-stars again here. So the story here is Sebastian Stan is Edward, who is a wannabe actor who has neurofibromatosis. At auditions, he's passed over because he doesn't look like everybody else. At home, he keeps himself to himself. He's learned to kind of withstand the taunts of others. A new neighbor moves in, Ingrid, who is played by Renate Reinsfer, who was so brilliant in The Worst Person in the World. She moves in next door. They become friends. He's surprised because he's obviously led a fairly lonely life. And it turns out she's a wannabe playwright. She's working on her first play, which, it turns out, is inspired by him because she finds him an inspiring character. Meanwhile, he gets offered a new treatment which may, in inverted commas, cure him, cause his old face to fall away, leaving behind a new face, the face of Sebastian Stan. So there's kind of almost like a science fiction element in this. I mean, not a million miles away from the substance. So now he has a new face and a new name. And the drama moves forward, and he's obsessed with the play that's been written about him, although she doesn't realize that it's him, and he wants to star in it. But in order to do that, he has to wear a prosthetic mask of his old face to play a character who is based on himself. Meanwhile, Oswald, played by Adam Pearson, we were speaking of earlier, shows up to rehearsals, and it soon becomes clear that Oswald will be much better suited to the role and has some really smart notes to offer on the drama. Gradually, Edward starts to feel that his new face has stolen his life. As Oswald, who's witty, popular, gregarious, talented, at one point he's asked what he can do, and there's virtually nothing he can't do, including karaoke singing. Oswald is getting all the love that Edward had originally longed for. Anyway, look, it's a fairly complex conceit, and it runs the risk of going seriously wrong, but it doesn't for a number of reasons. And I think those reasons are, firstly, the transformation of the central character is taken just seriously enough that, you know, you can get away with it whilst retaining a kind of fairy tale Twilight Zone conceit. You know, so you don't question it. As far as the fairy tale part of the story is concerned, you know, all the Beauty and the Beast stuff, all this is addressed head on, pretty thoroughly deconstructed, and done so very wittily. I think the third thing is that the writer-director is smart enough to understand how to deal with complex material. There's a scene early on when Edward is at home watching the television, and you can't see the screen, but you can hear the dialogue. And I thought, that's Driller Killer. That's Abel Ferrara's Driller Killer. And I then went and looked it up, and I was right, it is Driller Killer. And he got Driller Killer in because Driller Killer is a great movie about New York, whatever else it may be. And there are other things that very specifically reference Cyrano de Bergerac, Toni Morrison's Blue Eyes, but the reference points are very smart. And then I read an article afterwards in which he talked about Buñuel's Obscure Object of Desire and Face Behind the Mask and Elephant Man, all that stuff. So he's done his homework. He knows the ground. But the main reason it works so well is that Adam Pearson's performance is just really smart. It's really on the money. It's really funny. It's really winning. It's really disarming. And you really can believe that the Sebastian Stan character is going, what happened to my life? You know, this thing happened that I thought was going to improve, and then suddenly my entire life has been taken over by this other person who's not only dealing with all the things I couldn't deal with, but everyone loves him, and he's, you know, he can do all this stuff. And so I think that works really, really well. There's also a great performance by Reinsfer, who sort of negotiates the middle ground between the two characters. Really nice score by Umberto Smerili, shot in a way that kind of negotiates that netherworld position between fact and fable. And again, I think it's a really surprising and adventurous film. And again, I would say, put this next to a film like Megalopolis, which is bloated and, you know, fatuous and dull. And you go, when people's defense of Megalopolis is, well, at least it's doing something new. No, it isn't. A Different Man is doing something new. Weirdly, Joker Folie à Deux is doing something new. And anyway, so I really enjoyed A Different Man, and it not least because it shouldn't work, but it does.